Our top stories tonight: a probe into mine safety after 4 miners die in an underground fire in Rustenburg. A panel of experts to investigate the way police manage unruly crowds in the wake of the Marikana massacre. This is eNews Direct Weekend Edition. Good evening, I'm Amy McIver.
And I'm Benito Vigatini. You can comment on any of our stories by following us on Facebook and Twitter at eNews Direct.
Or you can check our content on our website, enca.com/direct. To our top story now: safety at mines is again under scrutiny following the deaths of 4 miners on Friday night. They died after being trapped by an underground fire. The shaft has been closed for now.
Families mourning the loss of loved ones. An underground fire flared up here in Shaft 14 of Impala's platinum mine on Friday night. Rescuers managed to save more than 700 miners, but 4 couldn't be reached in time. Naftiel says Simane lost his 40-year-old brother, Johannesburg.
It's a very deep cut in our hearts because we were still looking forward to live with him.
Mineral Resources Minister Mosebenzi Zwane has met with the bereaved families. The cause of the fire is not yet known.
An investigation should commence urgently to determine what led to the incident. Furthermore, no mining will take place until the department has declared the area safe for workers.
We'll cooperate fully to get to the cause of all of these incidents. I don't call them accidents, they're incidents, they're preventable.
Implat says it will also help with funeral arrangements. It's unclear how long the probe will take. Meanwhile, the department is still waiting for the findings of an investigation into the deaths of 2 other miners at the same mine last December. Zikhona Tshona, Rustenburg in the northwest.
A panel of experts has been appointed to investigate police's public order strategies in the wake of the Marikana massacre. The SAPS has pledged to implement the recommendations of the Farlam Commission of Inquiry by ensuring officers are better trained and equipped to manage unruly crowds. But it estimates transforming the service could cost more than 700 million rand.
To ensure this never happens again, police top brass say they are taking the Marikana Commission's recommendations seriously.
Equipping and training of the public order policing and so forth. Those are institutional measures and mechanisms that would have to be effected in effectively transforming the manner in which we conduct public order policing.
First on the agenda is an investigation into best practice in public order policing, and a number of security specialists are getting involved.
The Minister of Police had a series of consultations with various stakeholders with a view to arrive at a pool of suitable men and women who essentially could play a valuable sort of role in the work of the panel of experts.
The Commission also recommended more training for officers, including basic first aid courses.
We also needed to tap into international best practice kind of issues around issues of public order policing, and that therefore we needed to look into countries that were more or less similar.
Security experts from Russia, Brazil, China and Italy have been roped in to assist the SAPS implement the recommendations from the Marikana Commission. They've been given 15 months to conclude their work. Beran September, Pretoria.
It was a tough year for the police. The Farlam Commission laid much of the blame for the Marikana massacre on the SAPS. National Commissioner Ria Piecha was suspended, pending an inquiry into her fitness to hold office. The latest crime statistics painted a bleak picture, with serious offences on the increase. And almost 100 officers died in the line of duty. However, the acting commissioner insists morale is not an issue.
Our members are in high spirits. I was told yesterday there is a member who say, I feel so proud now that I even want to sleep in my uniform. I don't want to take it off. So if there is any suggestion of morale being low, it's foreign to the South African Police Service.
Khomotso Pahlane has big plans for 2016. They include more officers on the streets and more efficient detective work.
For us, very critical that those cases that have been reported, the victims of crime continuously are engaged during the investigation process to ensure that there is feedback. We cannot afford a situation where you have got cases long outstanding not being attended to.
Police management has urged South Africans not only to speak out when the SAPS fails, but also to offer suggestions on how officers can better serve their communities.
Police are investigating the possibility of a serial rapist preying on students at the University of Cape Town. 2 young women have been attacked in the same way in recent weeks, but the university says providing security is difficult because it's happening off campus.
This path is used as a shortcut by students at UCT. In the past 6 weeks, 2 females have been raped here in similar circumstances.
They happened at the same vicinity near the Rhodes Memorial, and also they happened to the ladies who had been walking through the bushes, presumably taking shortcuts from the Rhodes Memorial, and also the nature of the attacks in terms of how the perpetrator actually carried out the attacks.
The parking area has allocated spaces for UCT, but there's no security.
It's not on university property that the incidents took place, so the difficulty there as well is that UCT cannot really carry out security plans around areas outside its properties.
This student didn't want to be identified.
I have a few friends and I know people that park on top here because it's allocated UCT's parking, so it would make sense that they'd be coming up here late as well because they study late. But I didn't know it was so dangerous and that people would be getting raped. It's concerning.
The university is now focusing on making students aware of safety concerns. It's urging them to be vigilant and to report any suspicious behavior. PBA Shabidvala, Cape Town.
The Young Communist League wants new tax laws to be repealed or amended. It says the new legislation coming into effect in March will make it difficult for its members to campaign for the ANC. The YCL also believes attacks on SACP leader Bladen Zamande are part of a conspiracy to remove communists from government.
The Young Communist League has some tough questions for government.
Why? Why are we implementing a law that affects the workers and not implement the laws that benefits the workers? Whose government is this? Is this the government of the people?
It says the new legislation will make it difficult for members to campaign for the ANC.
And what they want anyway, during difficult times, when people ask us difficult questions, we explain those difficult questions on the ground. What they want are always on the forefront, on door to door, for the victory of the ANC. That must not be abused.
The youth body has also taken a swipe at its ANC counterparts, accusing them of trying to have SA Communist Party leader and Higher Education Minister Bladen Zamande removed from cabinet. Last year, the ANC Youth League and student leaders publicly called for Zamande's removal.
These attacks are well calculated and well coordinated with a deliberate agenda to isolate and remove communists from government.
Despite the harsh words, the Young Communist League maintains there's no bad blood between it and the ANC Youth League. It says while it remains loyal to the alliance leaders, it will continue to hold them accountable. Sikerelwa Mdingi, Johannesburg.
In news from around the world now, at least 18 people have been killed as Winter Storm Jonas sweeps up the eastern United States. Most died in car crashes from hypothermia or while shoveling snow. The blizzard has dumped over 75 centimeters of snow in places, leaving hundreds of thousands of homes without power. A 17-year-old Canadian boy has been charged with the murders of 4 people. 2 of the victims are brothers who were shot dead at home. 2 teachers were then gunned down at a nearby community school. The accused has also been charged with 7 counts of attempted murder. The motive behind the shootings isn't yet known. And the port of Calais in France had to be temporarily closed after dozens of migrants and refugees stormed a P&O ferry in the hope of reaching Britain. Police say the breach lasted about 4 hours. Earlier, thousands of people had staged a protest march in support of the refugees. Well, for these stories and more, go to enca.com/direct or follow us on Twitter and Facebook at eNews Direct. After the break, we bring you a new generation of African publishing for lovers of romantic novels. Fans of Star Wars The Force Awakens will have to wait almost 2 more years for the next installment. Walt Disney has pushed back the release of Episode 7. The next movie will now be released December 2017. It was originally scheduled to be released in May. The Force Awakens has already become one of the biggest global releases. Now look out for a series of new generation African romance novels. The books, published in Nigeria, target young people and are set in modern African cities. The publisher wants readers to embrace romance themes within an authentic African setting. She says the stories highlight the advancements made on the continent by featuring independent women falling in love with modern African men.
I wanted an imprint that would focus on the reality or the realities of African women on the continent and African men, and allows us to reimagine African masculinity in a different light.
Well, that's a wrap of your entertainment news. Your weather forecast for the start of the week is up next.
A cold front finally breaks a dry spell over the southwestern part of South Africa tonight, and you'll see that band of rainfall move over the southern part of South Africa on Monday, resulting in a cooler day. Scattered thunderstorms extend over the eastern interior with thundershowers through to Limpopo, and we're forecasting clear and warm weather over the western and central parts. It'll be a warm start to the work week for KwaZulu-Natal with highs in the upper 20s and low 30s. We're forecasting rain along the coast with thunderstorms over the interior and a mostly cloudy day. Cooler conditions are forecast for the Eastern Cape with highs in the 20s. You'll see rain along the coast and thunderstorms as we head further inland. That cold front brings in showers throughout the Western Cape on Monday. 22 degrees for Hermanus and Plettenberg Bay, Georgia 20, and Cape Town, Langebaan and Worcester all at 25. We're expecting a few showers through to Sutherland at 24, but with the dry forecast for the rest of the Northern Cape. Sunny as we head into Uppington at 33 degrees and Kimberley at 32. Mostly sunny for Bloemfontein at 30, with a dry forecast for most of the Free State, except over the extreme eastern parts where we're expecting isolated thundershowers. Dry weather is forecast for the northwest with a sizzling hot day. Vryburg, Zeerust and Rustenburg all in the mid-30s. Mostly cloudy with thundershowers for Limpopo with highs mainly in the low 30s, except for Lephalale, Messina and Phalaborwa, all with a sizzling hot start of the work week. 33 for Bombela with thundershowers throughout Mpumalanga, but particularly over the southern Highveld. You'll see a few thundershowers spilling over into northeastern Gauteng. 31 degrees for Pretoria, with the rest of the highs in the upper 20s and the dry forecast on Monday. On Tuesday, we're expecting rain along the coast from George all the way through to Richards Bay. We're forecasting thundershowers in the northeast with a dry forecast for the rest of South Africa. And on Wednesday, we're expecting a few thundershowers still for the northwest and KwaZulu-Natal, with rain for Polokwane and Bombela, but with a dry day for the rest of South Africa. That's all from the Weather Centre for now. Have a good week.
Here's a recap of your top stories this Sunday. A probe into mine safety after 4 miners die in an underground fire in Rustenburg. Well, that is a wrap from the eNews Direct team.